A government minister just danced around a burning question like it was a landmine, and it might mean a major U-turn that could warm millions of pensioners this winter. Literally. Yes, folks, the Labour government may be on the verge of reversing its highly controversial cut to the Winter Fuel Allowance, a move that's been labelled cold-hearted by critics. And now even inside sources are hinting the freeze might be thawing. Chief Secretary to the Treasury, Darren Jones, was grilled, point blank, on whether the government is gearing up to scrap or soften the cut. And what did he say? He basically didn't. Instead of a straight answer, we got a diplomatic sidestep.
While I have you, it feels like I'm very keen to talk about the spending review that's coming up as well, something that will impact our viewers so dramatically, of course, and everyone in the country. Are you looking at potential changes to the cut in winter fuel payments?
So I'm midway through the spending review at the moment, and so I can't tell you anything about it until I've done it, but I'll promise to come back to the studio to talk to you on the 11th of June and after that when we've published the details. And as you would expect, I'm not going to give a running commentary on private negotiations in government. So the policy that exists today is the policy that stands, and as I say, on the spending review, I'll be able to come back once I've presented it to Parliament in the proper way and go through the numbers with you at that stage.
The Sunday Times says you're running focus groups to see about potential changes to winter fuel payments. Is that correct?
I don't know. I don't run focus groups, but what I do is negotiate the spending review. And as I say, I'll come back to talk about that once we've finalised all of the agreements and presented it to Parliament.
Are you going to give me exactly the same answer if I ask you about disability benefit cuts as well?
Yeah, because it's an important principle, right, that when I'm having discussions with secretaries of state and with others in government, in mid-negotiation, where we're having to make lots of big choices for the country, that we don't provide a running commentary on TV for that. And as you would expect, that when we've concluded that, we should present it to Parliament first and then to the country. But I'll happily come back and talk about the detail at that stage.
I'll hold you to that, obviously.
No, sure.
But that's a different answer, I have to say, to the one that I've been given by other members of the Cabinet when I've asked exactly the same question on winter fuel and disability in the last couple of weeks. And for that, you know, the journalist in me, the ears prick up and you start thinking something's moving.
So my answer, that I can talk to you about the spending review when I've published it, is the right answer, and that's the government's position.
So they were wrong to say that there'd be no change to the policy then?
The spending review is the spending review. It will conclude on the 11th of June.
The thing is, and I understand why you're saying that, but you know, these are people's lives that we're talking about as well. You know, the disability cuts, for example, your own impact assessment, saying it would put an extra 50,000 children into relative poverty. People are worried about this. That's why I'm asking these questions, because people are talking about it and they're looking to you, who's got control over it, to give them a bit of reassurance, I suppose.
Sure.
Because a month is a long time.
Yeah, and I totally get that, and I empathise with it and understand. But that's why it's important that you do these things in the proper way. At the moment, we're just negotiating the budgets for each department. Things will come at a later stage, like the child poverty strategy, for example, where we want to take really significant decisions to try to get to the structural causes of child poverty across the country. Of course, we've got a welfare bill coming before Parliament shortly, which will be debated in Parliament with MPs when it's published. So there's a lot of things outside of the spending review that will be happening over the next couple of months. But your question was about the spending review, which is what I'm responsible for.
Classic political code for, we might change our minds, but I'm not telling you yet. And when asked about reports that the government is testing the waters through secret focus groups, Jones shrugged. I don't know. I don't run focus groups. Cool. Thanks, Darren. Super helpful. Because it's totally normal for a top Treasury minister to be unaware of what the party is researching behind closed doors. Even seasoned Sky host Sophie Ridge picked up on the dodge, pointing out that Jones's vagueness felt different from the usual party line. As journalists say, when the script changes, something's up. And the pressure's coming in hot, not just from voters, but from within the Labour Party. After disastrous local election results, anxious MPs are warning number 10. Messing with pensioners' heating money is a fast track to political frostbite. Here's the inside scoop. Labour is now seriously considering two options. One, raising the means testing threshold, currently just under 12k, so more pensioners qualify for the cash. Two, the nuclear option. Scrapping means testing entirely and going back to the old system where every pensioner gets the payment. The second option, way more generous, but it comes with a hefty price tag. So it's less likely, unless Labour's feeling desperate or generous, or both. Even Sir Keir Starmer is sounding more flexible these days. He's sticking to the script about difficult but right decisions, but he also hinted that with the economy improving, there might be room to revisit the plan. Translation? We took a gamble to look fiscally responsible, but now that it's costing us votes, we might just spin the wheel again. So, when's the big reveal? Mark your calendars, June 11th, the spending review. That's the first window where a U-turn could be officially announced. Or if Reeves decides to play it slow, it might wait until the autumn budget. Either way, this story isn't over.